All right, what's up? Mike Ford here. Hey, this is my day one of my 100 days of code and getting on to FlutterFlow. First thing I want to do is get logged in and let's go to work. I want to build a login page. I figured that'd be a really cool way of starting off these 100 days of code. So let's drop this down. Let's take a look at my private projects and let's create a new project and a blank page, and let's call this 100 days code. Here's that one. No spaces. Oh, has to start with a letter. Let's see. Go. All right, for right now, I'm going to skip setting up a database and all that with Firebase. I'll come back and do that in a different video. Right now, I just want to start with the initial piece. So the intention with these 100 days is to develop the skill set, get some more exposure to the platform and share my journey so other people can understand how to start to build applications on your own. So let's build a login page. I know that there are templates and other things available to me um, here in FlutterFlow, but I really want to see if we can build it from scratch. And as we get stuck, we'll move over to some of the docs and maybe mess around with a template. But the first place I want to go to is Dribbble. I like using Dribbble for ideas for developing different parts of an application. So I'm going to do a search for the login page. And here we have different examples that are coming up. And let's see if we can just grab something that's just kind of simple. Right? I know there's a couple of these look good. So let's look at, yeah, not this one. It's kind of cool watching these 3D image ones. These are folks that they use what's called 3JS, or maybe they have a GIF that they've made or GIF, and they just you see it's just kind of replaying just a photo in there. Uh, so let's see if we can just grab something that's static. Let's just go with a static login page, and then we can move forward from there. So what's this one do? Nothing special, right? All right, cool. So I'm just gonna go simple. Let's go simple login page. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. I really like these login pages that they're like uh, one end is something, and I'm just also thinking, we're gonna have more of an opportunity, or I'll have more of an opportunity to mess around with different features and functions of FlutterFlow. So, but not so much that it's kind of like, yeah, what am I doing here, right? So, um, let's see if we can build something that's similar to this, where it's a login page where you put your username and your password, and then you click login, and you can use a different, different kinds of logins or something like this, right? Yeah. All right. This would be a create an account page, but get the idea. So we're gonna do a split page. It's gonna have some fields for us to put in data, and then a login button. All right. Let's see this one here. So let's log in. Again, it's got that split down the middle. All right. It's got some fields, enter some data, and then this seems pretty straightforward. So let's remember that, and let's go back here and So let's adjust the size of the canvas. So this is mobile first, right? That's what FlutterFlow is known for, is going mobile first. That's your tablet size, and here's the desktop size. These two buttons here, so this one here pops out the widgets. So these are all the widgets, right? If I decrease that, I've got all the widgets here floating nearby, so it makes it fairly quick for me to drag and drop items in here. And so that's why that button is right here, this button, um, the floating widget palette. So that's cool. And then this button here, this is the generative AI. So we describe how we want our login page. I've never used it before. It says I've got 5 out of 5 page generations um, left. This is the free version of FlutterFlow, so I've got a limit to how many I can do every day. So how about we? I want to build it from scratch. I almost did it just to see what would happen. Next time we'll come back and mess around with that. So let's open up this widget tree. This widget tree tells us what we've added to the page so far. But what I want to do is delete this app bar and delete this as well. So here we have an app, we have a blank canvas. And the objective is for us to take this, zoom out a little bit, for us to take this blank canvas and create this kind of thing. So let's start with this blank canvas. Okay, so it looks like if we go into our widgets, that this login page has 2 sections to it. So if we look at our widgets, I want to identify something that's got that gives me that kind of feel. So I know that if I'm going to have more than one widget on a page, it's either going to be in a row or in a column. And so that initial piece has these 2 pages side by side. They're in a row, these 2 pages. So I'm going to do one row, and inside of this row, I'm going to have 2 containers, right? Let me do this. Let's go back and expand this. And let me go delete for a moment. Let me delete for a moment. Let me add. See, I'm going to add a container, and I'm going to add another container. Boom, and add another container. Okay, cool. So yeah, we want to wrap this in a row. So what do we have? We have container 1 and container 2. So I'm going to change the background, the fill color. So right now I have the first container, second container. I'm going to take container 1, and I'm going to rename this, right? So let's go with left container, and let's go here, and this one will rename this to right container. And then I'm going to change the fill for the container on the right. And I just want to use a different kind of background to be able to tell the difference between one and the other. Okay. So here we go. We've got the left side and the right side. Just for now, we'll get this color down and mess around with that. So now that I have these 2 items in a row, the next thing I want to do is let the row take up, the entirety of the page. And so in FlutterFlow, the way that these child items know how to behave depends on how the parent is instructing them to behave. So we'll start with the parent item first, which is this row. And we can look down here to see the different types of ways we can adjust it. And here are the row properties. So we can tell it, hey, I want all of the child items to be centered, or I want it to be all the way to the right. Maybe I want the child items that have space, evenly spaced between them. Maybe I want space around the space that's between each child item. And then here I want them as far apart, like to the ends of each side here in the row. But what I want them next to each other. All right. So I actually want them next to each other. And I want let's see, as far as the cross-axis alignment goes, that's how the child elements should be aligned vertically. So vertically, do I want them up at the top of the row, the middle of the row, the bottom of the row, or taking the full width of the row? And look what happens here. When I hit that full width button, the stretch makes children fill the cross-axis vertically. So here we've just taken this from the top of the page down to the bottom of the page. Now the next thing is, okay, well, how do I get my row to take the full width, right? It just went the full length, which is that cross axis. Well, how do I get it to take the full width of this thing? And so now that our row items, the child items inside of this row widget, we've told the child items we want you to full length from top to bottom. We then go to each individual child item and we say how much of the space do we want the container to take. And so if we go to this width option here, we can see that this width option changes as we slide this thing in and out. But obviously I wanted to um, go the exact measurement of the screen width. And the option to do that is this percentage sign right here. We click that and we put in a percent. So 10%, and this is 10% of the entire width of the screen. And I'll show you what I mean. I can put this to 1%, right? And if I go to the right container and I go to my percentage and I put the right container to 100%, it takes up 100% of the available width that it has, right? So uh, it doesn't spill into this left container. It's going to take 100% of whatever's left over. So if I go into this left container and I say, hey, left container, I actually want you to be half of the width. Well, then this right container is going to take the remaining part of that half, right? Yeah, it's going to take half and half. So here we go. We have created the half and half look that we wanted to get from this. So we've got a row with a row widget, and there's a container here that's going to contain these items, the login, email, and that type of stuff. And we've got the container here is going to have these items inside of it. So if we start with this login first, it looks like we've got text, got an input box, that's a button. It looks like this is like a row of things here, 1, 2, 3, and we've got 1, 2, 3 more buttons. So if we can go to the left container, and we want to put a few things in the left container, and they're going to go in a column. So I could put a column widget, right, to drop a column widget in here and say, hey, go ahead and fill in the column widget, or I can just start to add items, and FlutterFlow knows what we're doing. So there's going to be a text. It's going to be another label. So let's put another text. Hey, we're going to wrap it in a column. Then there's going to be an input box and a button. So let's see, we can go here and look for, is there like INP, or let's see, text. See if we have an actual widget, which there should be. And I would think it'd be something that's pretty common because I can see the button here. That's a fairly common widget, right? So let's go down and see if there's anything in here. Okay, here we go. Text field. This is what I'm looking for. Text field. Yeah, there goes a text field. So it's a text field, and then we've got a button. Let's go up. Let's go button, got a button there. We've also got, it looks like a row. So we'll put in a row item right below that button. That row item has a line, text, and a line. So I wonder if I go, not going to be, okay, that makes sense. So if I want to do, so we know there's text and we know there is, see if I can do just a shape, maybe, or just a line. Nope. Rectangle? Oh, progress bar. Nope. So instead, what I'll do is I'll put three text, and I'll explain why I'll do three text boxes. Okay, and then we've got three more buttons. Button, and another button, and another button. And that's what this page is going to be here. So let's build out the left side first. So it looks like we've got space in between each one of these. That is called padding, right? So let's go to, we go here to the widget tree and we look at this column. So in this column, right, this vertical column here, we can then look at the spacing. So remember we had kind of like these built-in things, you know, to space everything out for us, the space between the spaces. But we don't want that much space, right? So it looks like everything takes it from the top. And it looks like the very top option comes down a pretty good amount from the very top. So instead what we can do is we can go text here. And let me see if this does what I think. Yes, it does. So we can go for the top of that text box and we can give it padding. So it moves it off from within the parent column, right? We said, hey, put 100 pixels between the top of this text box and whatever's above it. So, so here, let's actually, maybe it might be more like 200 pixels, like that. And then the first thing here is the word login. So now in this text box where it says hello world, I actually wanted to say login. We go back here. Looks like it's a larger font. So how do we manipulate the font for this thing? Scroll down, we can see all of our font. They've got some presets here for us. Let's see, 16 pixels, 18. This is a large title. Login. They've got a headline small, headline medium, headline large. This is a display, display large, login. Display medium. That seems all right. So let's roll with the display medium. This looks like this is a line to the left along with everything. Everything else is online to the left. So let's go to our column and let's say, hey, we want all the child items to line up to the left, right? And it seems like there's an equal amount of, if we had like an invisible box here, looks like there's an equal amount of padding from the top of the text box to the top of this container and from the very bottom item to the bottom of the container. So what we can do here is we've got that padding there. We can go to this button and at the bottom, we can do a, you know, kind of 200. Looks like that's the padding there. Or let me see what we can do also. Hey, we want this centered exactly. And let's see here. And that might actually work better for us is just to center it instead of using this. So let's see how that looks real quick. Cool. So right now, everything is centered. Okay, so we want to center. We do want to put some padding. So I'm in the parent object. What happens if I put padding? Check that out. It does the padding for the entire. Um, so we work the padding and things inside of this column, for the column, and the column itself is saying, hey, for me to the container that I'm inside of, I want to be these many pixels to my left, and I want the same amount of pixels to my right. Boom, boom. And you see it because it's white, it like slides everything in like this. That's great. And then also, I want space. I want space between each item. So what's this here? Applies equal spacing between each item in the column. So let's go into here. And what does 100 pixels look like? So there you go. We're starting to see what spacing looks like between each item, right? 20 pixels, 200 pixels, right? Takes things off the screen. So that's great. So it looks like some of this spacing kind of changes depending on the item itself. So here we've got a login and we've got some space, and then these are evenly spaced with each other. So let's start from the login portion from here. It seems like there's some space right above that. Something like that. Let's go 50 pixels like this. And this text box actually says email. So that's great. This here looks like your address, your email address. So right now I'm looking at this text field, and I want to change the label property here. So that's what's inside this text field. So I want to say enter email address. Let's go to your email address. All right. Change that to your email address. No worries. I know it's rubbing right up against this, and this it looks like without. Go here. We've got email, and then we've got some space right below this. So right above this button, there's some space. Looks like let's go with 10. This one here looks like it's an actual box around this. So this is a text field. What options do we have available for the text field as far as the styling goes? So let's scroll down and we can see we got a radius. Here goes input border type. So you got outline. There it is. It shows us the outline of the box. Or we can do outline. We can do that underline, or we can go none, which just leaves that empty, a box empty like that. But we want our user to see a box so that kind of intuitively they know, hey, I can enter data here. So here we go. Okay, something else here. We see like the text is not quite aligned here, but that's because you can see these boxes have a built-in 8 padding on each side. So we can just remove the padding, right? And now it's aligned, and then the space between that, whoops. The space from the text field to that, let's go 10 pixels. So we got login, we got email. This is a text field where the user can input. We've got a button. That button is the same length of the text box. So I guess a way that we can adjust the width of this button, check that out. So this text field, which is called text field, has a property which is the width of the text field. Let's see, I see weight, see font size, label property, media, I see font weight, see these input, border width. Okay. I don't see width here for, oh, here it is. Width, right? So the width, if we change that to 100 pixels, it kind of changes. So the default is this width right here. And then, okay, the max amount of lines. So I'm assuming you had to change it to a big input field. That's good. But email addresses are normally just one line long. So, but we see that this thing has a width, right? So this thing called text field has a width property. Well, we want the button, the width of the button to be the same as that the text box. So what I can do is go here, my button, look at my width, and I go to my width and see if there are any properties maybe, global properties. Let's see, widget state. Okay, we got a text field here. So this thing is checking if variable, nope. So another way we can do it, something that's a little bit easier, if we take all three. So if I go here, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna say wrap this widget, and I wanna wrap it in a column. And I wanna take that text field, drop it in there, and I wanna take this text and drop it in there. And I wanna take this button and drop it in this column. And I'll show you why I did that here in a moment. So I've got all of these and they're inside of their own column, right? And so why did I do that? Well, the reason I did that is because I want to do this. Now I have the column dictating how long everything in here should be. And now you see I've got this button the same width of the text field, and the text box is the same field, is the same thing too. And if we close that out, now we're starting to get that effect of this thing looking like that. Okay, continue with email. We can change the text of this button. So I'll go to this button. We'll go continue with email. Like that. Okay, what else we got? So I created this row. This row's got the word or in there, and it's got these lines, these grayed out lines here. So what this looks like to me is the underline from this text input box. There might be a better way of doing that, I think, but I just want to see if we can figure it out without having to rely too much on documentation or relying on like videos from YouTube. Like what you're watching now. No, just kidding. All right, so cool. So I've got this row. So first, let's put some height in between this and this button here. I'm also going to do 20 pixels there to put that. And then the child items, I want to have them spaced out like that, right? And there's the or. And then the text, so let's go here to this text and let us replace the widget. Only column, boom, boom, stagger can be replaced. Okay, cool. So I'm going to delete and I'm going to delete and I'm going to add, and I believe it's a text field. I'm going to add this text field and I'm going to add another text field here. I'm going to change the order and okay, so then I'm going to go here. I'm going to remove this text. I'm going to go here. I'm going to remove this text. And so now I have these two items. And so not quite what I'm looking for. Not quite right, but I'm kind of heading in the right direction with the lines. Let's see if there's another way to do this. So I've got my text. What else? What other widgets can I use in here? I've got tab bars, page views, looks like wrap. So these are some base elements. Wonder if an icon would work. Possibly. Right? Can I change the icon? I can. Can we go with a line? Might be one way to do it. A lot of times with this, one of the things that I've noticed when it comes to like programming and working on applications and things is that there are lots of ways to do things. Right? There are lots of different ways to do the same thing. So I'm just looking here to see if there's anything here that I can use. All these fancy buttons, fancy widgets. But what I want is just a straight up line. Hmm. Okay. I guess another way I could do it is to create a text box. And let me see if I can change this text. Let me do another one. I want that to be line here, and then let's order the row. Close. It's close. Maybe it just needs to be a little longer. Oops. Here and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not quite the line, but sort of. This color is like a gray color. So let's go here and let's go to, hey, check that out. I can strike right through it. How about that? This is me making things up right now. Let's strike through. Let's see if that helps us. Let's go text color and let's go with a secondary. Nope, I want something that's so another a cool extension that I like to use is this color picker extension here. It it allows me to pick a color, pick a color. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we go pick a color. So it it picked a color, and so now this light gray, it gives me the hex value for it, which is CACFD4. CACFD4. Come here to this CACFD4. And same thing here. CACFD4. And this also is the same. CFD4. And there goes the gray. That same kind of gray color. Look, we can even copy uh, that button, but this is more like a disabled. The button is disabled until this starts to get filled up. So let's look at these other three buttons real quick. These are all also. So it looks like these here. Remember the same thing we did with these. We put them inside of a column, so they're stacked on top of each other. Well, I'm going to do the same thing here with these buttons. So I'm going to take this button and I'm going to wrap this widget. I'm going to wrap it in a column. And I'm going to drop these other items in here in this column. All right, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to bring this up. Oops. Bring this up to the top. This is giving us that space there. And then the column, I want the column to expand to the, remember this is going out to this column here, so it's going to expand as wide as it can according to this column here inside of this left container. And that column, we want to space out the buttons. All right, so here we can do a space between each item. Right? Does that allow us to do it? Yes, it does. So we can just put a number and space out each item. So let's go roughly 20. It's about right. It's a little more than what it looks like to me. So maybe just 15 works here. Sweet. So now we've got this button and we got continue with Apple, Facebook, and Google. So we go here, we change the button color, we say continue with Apple. This one here is continue with Facebook. And this one here said continue with Google, I think. Continue with Google. Spell continue right, I think so. Sweet. Okay. And then it looks like there's an icon in this button here. So right in front of this, uh, there is a icon. So let's see here. What's a way for us to get a picture on here? Well, we could use emojis, right? Yeah. Let's see. I know this isn't quite it, but just for what we're trying to do here, let's see if I can um, make something work here. Go. I'm gonna use a book for Facebook. Here's just one book, you know. And then this one here, continue with Google. Let's see, there is a there. I'm gonna go with this envelope because we all know that symbol for Gmail. So let's roll with that. Boom. Right. And this is the left side of this screen. So um, the left side is coming along, right? It's kind of looking like the login page here, which is pretty cool. So we at least are now starting to understand. There's when we are looking at pages and things, and I'm understanding, more. Let's say we've got one more piece here that we can throw down there. Probably like another text, space it out, get it to the bottom. Um, but it looks it's this idea of having columns and rows and understanding how to nest different child items inside of these things and manipulate the widths and stuff. So I think this is looking all right for right now, just to have an initial login page, have something that's starting to look like this. And so I think the next video, tomorrow, what I'll do is um, create some functionality for when these buttons get clicked that we actually navigate to the next page, or we actually do continue with Apple, Facebook, and Google. Cool. That's it. I'll see you all in the next one.